This is Royce Hall, your host of the Wealth Science podcast. I'm joined today by Peggy Olson, who is the president and CEO of Strategic Marketing, providing fractional CMO and marketing services to companies in the payments industry. Peggy, great to have you today.
Thank you, Royce.
Well, Peggy, as you know, on the Wealth Science podcast, one of the things that we like to do is kind of dig into our guests a little bit and see what you're about. So tell me a little bit about your history in the payments industry and what you're doing at Strategic Marketing.
So I've worked in payments most of my career. I have been in a variety of roles across payments, including product development, product marketing, product management, marketing, sales, business development, and so forth.
So when you're doing CMO and marketing services for payments companies, like what does that look like? Are you serving like the vendors, or are you servicing like people who have credit card processing, or like, where do you fit in there?
My company serves customers throughout the entire payments ecosystem. So we count as clients anywhere from card brands and large acquirer processors to payments gateways, PCI compliance vendors, equipment deployers, manufacturers, distributors, you name it. We have at least worked with a number of companies all throughout the payments value chain.
Awesome. Well, one of the things that I like to ask people who are guests on my show, payments, I think is special to everybody in a different way. Everybody has the things that they love about it, the things that they hate about it. It's different for each person. Could you maybe, tell me a little bit about your history with the industry? Like, what got you into payments, and like, why do you still have a passion around that field in particular?
Okay. Well, going way back, right out of college, I took a job with a company that was working on automating payments from key punching to scanning for tax payments, for utility payments, and that sort of thing, on using reader sorters and key punch machines. And so translating over time, one of the things that has been really fun and exciting for me and still continues today is the fact that the technology is always changing and bettering and getting more efficient for the processing, as well as for now the real focus is on making it more efficient for the consumers to make payments and the merchants to accept their payments, and going to more of a seamless user experience. So that's kind of what's driven it for me. I've done a lot of work in other bank technology as well, including the ATM platform, DDAs and CDs, wholesale retail lockbox, etc. So besides credit card payments,
Yeah,
and check processing.
that's interesting. Like, there's just been so much change in the industry, very recently, but for decades. Like you mentioned, going from key punching to automating the process, with like sliding. So like that's a huge shift, and I think probably a lot of people these days take that for granted, right? Like that's assumed,
Right.
versus monumental difference when it first came about, right?
Right. That's correct.
So what are the things that are kind of like on the horizon that you're kind of like keeping your eye on right now? I know you mentioned like kind of the ease of payment for the user, but like, are there particular technologies that are like, I don't know, fascinating to you, and you see as like the next wave of innovation coming in?
Yeah, and it's been happening for the past couple of years. and probably accelerated more due to the pandemic, but just having a consistent user experience across all sales channels or purchase channels, the omni-channel aspect, and then also just to, I think from the merchant perspective, there's a lot going on to provide and streamline business functions, and especially the financial function for small business owners, and giving them technologies to manage and grow their business and accept payments that before only big box retailers really had access to those capabilities. So a lot of technologies are coming online and being available to the small business owner, you know, right at their fingertips, even from mobile phones, to manage the business, and to be, you know, to have information at their fingertips on what their current sales are for the day, up to the minute, and access. So data is a big deal to derive business performance.
Yeah, and that's interesting. You know, just as you're talking about that, you know, being able to have all that data on your phone, you know, right at your fingertips. And I just think, like, even now, it's like you can even have that on your watch if you want, right?
Right.
which is mind blowing. You know, when I was a kid, the watch was just for telling time, and you know, that was it. But now you can, you know, probably run a decent amount of your business from, you know, the simple watch on your hand.
Right. And I think, you know, from the watch, from the smartphone, you know, who would have thought 20 years ago you'd be doing all that we are today on smartphones, including payments. And so this kind of multi-access device for doing anything to run your business and to manage your life, really becoming a single form factor for all aspects of living in business.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And you know, all aspects of your business it's you know, there's a big push, right, to not just have it on every device that you're connected to, but to have everything in one place. So you know, I think we're also kind of tearing down silos that, you know, it's all about the data, as you said. Like, there's a ton of data. So how
Right.
do we?
And the rise of the cloud has really helped make that happen, because whatever device you're on, whether it's a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, smartphone, your watch, is getting that, getting access to the applications and the data through the cloud.
Yeah. And then, you know, I'm in the CRM business, right? So like, you know, there's a lot of platforms out there as well that are like, can we get all of the business units under the same technology, so that,
Mhm.
you know, your you know, shop owner who, you know, maybe they have 5 employees, you know, they're a small company. How does that person have access to all the tools that you're talking about? You know, all of the fancy features that were reserved for the biggest players. You
Mhm.
know, that's the cool thing, is there's a bunch of companies, you know, obviously I'm biased, right? To the brand that I represent, but that, you know, they're not the only ones. There's a lot of companies that are bringing whole platforms to the market to make to facilitate the entire, you know, customer life cycle, and also the business life cycle in one place. You know, it's really an amazing technology and revolution we're going through there.
Right. And so, you know, not too long ago, and still exists for a lot of companies today, you know, they have their payments from their online channel coming in, you know, it's disparate from what's happening in each individual store, and somehow that gets, you know, aggregated on a daily basis and reconciled at the end of the day. But, you know, then where we are now is businesses of all sizes, even the smallest, you know, startup, can have access to multi-channel information instantly to make decisions, better decisions more quickly about what's happening in their business, and, you know, where, you know, maybe they decide that they're getting all of their business, or majority of a business, from one channel. They can focus on that a little, you know, a little bit more, and grow their business more rapidly, rather than waiting for, the daily report or the weekly report or even the monthly report in some cases.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would think as well, like the same goes for, marketing, the marketing that you're doing. Like you can be a truly omni-channel marketer. Like, you can help people find, I imagine can help people capture, clients that are on their Facebook page and on their, website and, texting in and like all those other things. There
Mhm.
it's, you know, the shift that's going on across the entire spectrum of technology is huge. I just think of,
Right.
I called my credit card company. I was talking to you before we kicked off here, Peggy, that, we just went through a move and I called in my credit card company to update them. I never talked to a person. I
Oh,
only talked to a robot, and like the
okay.
robot was asking me questions and I was telling them about my address and I got it all resolved without ever talking to a person, which
Mhm.
is just amazing. Like that can, I think that can be frustrating sometimes, but it's like as a business owner, like that's an amazing technology.
Mhm.
And, that's, I think again, you have the truly omni-channel marketing as well that
Right.
is part of that.
And I think, a number of vendors are bringing other financial business tools and services, in that bundle, besides omni-channel acceptance, but, things like business lending, um, debit cards, credit cards, other banking instruments that prepaid cards that might be useful to a business, and running the business for both the money coming in and the money going out.
Yeah. Um, so, we've kind of thought a little bit about the advancements in the industry that are like, interesting and like,
Mhm.
this is what we think is coming and the future of the industry and some of it which is here. Are there
Mhm.
things that that you can think of that were like, okay, we were all hoping this would pan out. This is like the next new thing, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Um, I've been in the industry for a long time, so I've been hearing about checks going by the wayside for pretty much the last 40 years, and they're still here, I'll bet in less
Yeah.
quantity.
My
So
wife asked me just yesterday, so did you order the new checks for the new address? I'm like, nope, I haven't done that yet.
yeah. So, I think one of the challenges for the industry is um, keeping all of the payments instruments going, but allowing for new ones to come online. And probably the most interesting and exciting is, I'm not going to say cryptocurrency, but digital currency. And where is that going? And so I'm going to lump cryptocurrency into digital currency, but is there going to be a US dollar, but a US government backed stable coin dollar, that sort of thing? And where do we go when there isn't physical currency going on? And the death of cash, I mean, I've been hearing cash is king and the death of cash at the same time for about the past 10 years, and we're still going to have cash, but there will be the rise of some kind of stable coin and digital currency that will be government backed, by the United States and other governments as well. And what's interesting to me is there is an opportunity to create a global currency if people could cooperate, and that could take a lot of the complexity out of currency exchange and all that goes with it.
Well, I tell you what, I've got this actual paper dollar right here. Real deal. Is that your bet on what's coming down the pipe here is one global currency? I'll put you
um,
one crisp dollar on that.
I think you know a global currency could be aspirational. You would have to get a lot of governments to sign on to that. Um,
Mhm.
is there going to be a U.S. government backed dollar digital currency, sure, it's only a matter of time. You know, they're
Yeah.
already talking about it in Washington and trying to put some guidelines together. You know, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's on the horizon.
Nice. So, kind of in closing here, I know that we've talked a little bit about what you're doing in the marketing space, but kind of thinking about the future of the industry. What are you doing to kind of propel the industry forward, if I can ask that?
Oh, okay. I think probably in two fronts. One is I'm towards the end of my career in the payments industry,
That just
so
means you have more experience than the rest of us. That's all that means.
so in terms of my mark or my stamp on the industry is helping to bring companies with new technologies to bring their products to market and to have them get market traction and become the new standard for technologies. And I think my give back to the industry is I'm currently on the board of Western States Acquirers Association, and we're working on bringing education and events that keeps people up to date on new technologies and new industry trends and so forth, and bringing together for networking as well, and exhibiting of new technologies. So my participation in that is kind of my outgoing give to the industry.
And you just had your annual conference here recently, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. So it was last month in Huntington Beach at the Hyatt Regency. It was a great event. We had record attendance with over 1,400 people, and we're looking for an even bigger crowd next year in Carlsbad, California at the Omni La Costa Resort and Spa in November. I think it's the 1st and 2nd of 2023.
Fantastic. Well, Peggy, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you sharing your experience and thoughts with me. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome, Royce.
All right, you have a great day.